filled with microtransactions instead of like fighting over some of the most stupid shit. I think this whole starts with the dude feeling as their ass is going to get kicked in the game or maybe in real life by a girl. Yeah, but that just seems silly to me. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a girl or a guy, you have complete capability. I wouldn't look at somebody who's a guy and expect them not to be able to sew, you know, or be good at sewing because they're a guy. Even though I know how to sew, even if they didn't know how to sew, I know that they have the capability to learn to sew. You know, even if I wouldn't be like stunned at the idea that maybe they're going to be better at sewing than me. Which, sorry about the stereotypical choice, but I just couldn't think of anything other than sewing at the start. Get in the kitchen and make me a sew witch. Yeah, EA does suck. And swallow. No more NFTs, yes. EA did do Sims, but Sims are just an outlier of the rest of the EA catalog, I guess. Sort of, although they make new Sims. Like, they, instead of, I don't know, I guess it's not that big of a deal. I would like to see if they're making all these additions to the game, right? DLC. I'm cool with DLC. My problem is, if you're gonna make DLC, it would be really nice if you could bring some of the DLC to the next gen game that you make if you make a updated game. So, like, if you bought over $1,000 in Sims 4 stuff, and then they make Sims 5, it would be really nice if they could just, you know, give you some credit or something. Because, like, there are so many downloadable options of Sims. What are my thoughts on... Oh, I already talked about that in the beginning of the stream. Speaking from experience, no! I don't know what you're talking about! I did not spend $1,000 in Sims, it was $500. It's like the worst obsession I have. I want to be able to create things! Like, I love interior decorating. They get me every time. Hello? Hi. It's okay, chat. Most of it I got 50% off. Okay? So it's a deal. I didn't pay full price. You know, you can download that shit for free? Wait, what? I could cheat the system? Scamming EA would not bother me, but the problem is if they suddenly stop having like a bunch of people buy the things, I assume that they would just stop making the game. And if I enjoy something, I don't mind paying a little extra for it because I would want to continue something. It's like my reasoning for keeping a subscription to a site or something, even if I don't use it a lot, if I want it to continue to be made. True, it could have the virus, so yeah. Wanting to create your own world is normal, don't worry about it. Yeah, that's why I like Minecraft too. I don't know what you did, but you look amazing today. Why, thank you! Thank you! I use dry shampoo, so maybe people are gonna go, wow, look at this girl. She washes her hair. Look at her. She totally washes her hair. Totally. It's just weird because people still pay for shit with microtransactions. I wouldn't mind certain situations with microtransactions personally. Like, okay, say I'm playing an MMORPG and I know that, wait, it looked like I had a unibrow. I had to fix. I have to fix these brows. They're everywhere. Okay. If you have an MMORPG, correct? Server maintenance can be a real hassle. And so if you want to have a free-to-play platform where everybody has an opportunity to play the game, I think it's okay to have things that are microtransaction-ish, like clothing options, because clothing options are really not necessary and they're more for fun. But that's the only type of thing I think is fair. I think that if you're going to make a free-to-play model game, then you should make it free-to-play for everyone and not have to pay for certain aspects of the game to be better. So it's why I wouldn't really play, what's that game that came out? The newest MMO? Do you guys remember? Oh, it was nice to talk to you too. Bye, Mingo. Cleanliness Twitch chat hasn't heard about that in years. I forget the name of the new MMO that came out, sorry. I'm trying to remember. The one that's top down from Korea, and it was like really, really pay to win. It's the reason I wouldn't play that game, or a lot of MMOs that come out recently, because there's just so much pay to win aspects to them that it makes it unfun. Lost Ark, yeah. I really wanted to like Lost Ark too, because I really like the idea of Lost Ark. It looks like a fun game, but I just don't want to pay. I don't want to pay to be successful in a video game. I don't think that I could value myself less than that. Like, for me, that's the bottom, you know? It's the reason that I don't cheat in video games, because, yeah, even if I'm shit, if I'm the worst player on the team, I don't have to have a computer to help me be as good as I am, you know? And so it's the same for me. Any pay-to-win content, any cheating like that is just cheating myself. What's the point of even playing the game then? Am I even enjoying myself if I have to cheat for it? Night Raven, thank you so much for the subscription. Thank you. Thank you. People pay to win and still suck. Oh, is my stream buffering? Hey, Moomin. I feel out of place in this combo. The most competitive games are like Splatoon and TFT. Hey, you're fine. It's buffering? No. Maybe I'll try you guys over here. Is this better? Sometimes it's about finding the right spot. Is that better? Is it working? Hello? Maybe you come down here. Is it good? Hello? Very slightly different camera position. Pog! Did it work? No, it's not working! So far it's working? This is better? It's good? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Sometimes it is about finding the right spot. Figuring out, like, what's is good. Okay, cool. It's like figuring out what's the good spot to put it in, so that it gets, like, signal, I guess. I don't know. Wi-Fi signal or something? Oh, well. Hi! We're here now. I'm gonna just talk to you guys like this today, I guess. I just got here, first time seeing you get what might be more comfortable. Well, thank you. Cool. I'm happy it's working now. Woo! You guys might be a little lag behind though, so I'm not sure. Hopefully you guys aren't too far behind. Let me think what else to talk about now. Papa Titty out, Lil Peep. How can you disgrace the name of Lil Peep in my chat? I can't believe that you would even bother to do this right now. Alright? Lil Peep wouldn't ask for a titty pop. Lil Peep would demand one. Just kidding. Have you tried an Ethernet cable? I don't know how to connect an Ethernet through my phone is the problem, because I'm streaming from my phone at this point. I think until I get to my new place, I'm gonna have to stream from my phone, which sucks, because sometimes the quality of the stream can go down quite a lot. I hate that. What's my favorite kind of dessert? I think my favorite kind of dessert is probably maybe I think German chocolate cake is my favorite dessert. I love German chocolate cake. I love the like tardiness to it. With an adapter? You can with an adapter? You know Lil PP was your cousin? I don't believe that. And the battery dies because you never plug us in? That was just one time. One time I let you guys die by accident. Have I ever ate a Lego? No, but I stepped on one and it was so painful. Hey, Toxin. Yeah, they just do it automatically. Oh. I take back my hey, you're rude. What the heck? Just getting rid of some of the cards I made before because, oh, I'm sorry, friend. I know. No, I don't know what that is. Is that what it's called? Schwarzwald? German chocolate cake? I love it. It's so delicious. Yeah, I'm not your favorite dessert. No way. Absolutely not. I don't think I can lay like this for very long. Really? You can do it? I'll have to look into it then. Because I didn't know. Hold on. Maybe I could do this. And then like this. That's better. Easy. Alright, cool. Sorry for the issues. Let me think of something to talk to you guys about. I feel like there's something that I've been meaning to say. Or been wanting to say. Do you guys think the internet was a good thing or a bad thing? I wonder sometimes if, like, the authenticity of people hasn't been around for a while. You know? I was feeling a little nostalgic today. I'm thinking about, like, 2000s, early 2000s. And sometimes I feel like, I mean, there were definitely inauthentic people then too, so maybe I'm just dealing with a situation where, you know, things aren't, maybe like a nostalgia glasses, you know? Like maybe I'm looking at things where I feel like it's possible that I can look back at those times and feel like humans as a whole were more authentic. And sometimes it can be a little alienating when I'm online, and I feel like it's hard to find people who are real anymore. It can be like really frustrating, but you can never, it feels like everyone has this like internet mask on, and it can be weird, I guess, you know? Like everyone kind of wants to impress each other. I guess I've been kind of wrapped up in that thought process recently. How I'm not really sure like where the authenticity is anymore. That's why I really like my boyfriend. I know that maybe it's weird to say, but he's so authentic, you know? It was like something I really liked seeing online, that he was just a real human, really himself. I feel like people get wrapped up into these like groups, and everyone just wants to be a part of these groups rather than just being who they are and doing things for the sake of being fun. Sometimes I feel like the whole entire idea of like fun is kind of fading away. I am who I am, online I'm off. I like that. Yeah, I guess I'm in my existential crisis. How do you be authentic? I don't know. What makes him authentic? I guess it doesn't ever really feel like he's trying to impress me or say things that are there for the sake of impressing everyone else. You know, when he makes a joke, it's like, it's more like, oh, I think my friends will think this is funny, rather than I want to manipulate people into laughing at my sake. Where I think that there's like two really big differences between those things, right? Like I'm laughing along with you in one, and two, and I'm trying to get you to laugh. You know, so for the first one, it's like I also think this is funny. Yeah, that's true. It has been very stressful. You struggle to find genuine people too? I feel like sometimes it can be like this weird, like, I feel like some people get so caught up in these like groups, right? Where it feels like they just say random talking points instead of like having thoughts on their own. And maybe I sound like a little, I don't want to sound like, oh, too smart for me, too smart for you kind of mentality, but you'll hear like people say the same thing as somebody else, and you'll hear like the same rhetoric over and over again, and it can feel very frustrating because I'm not sure if people are just saying things to like signal boost to other people that they also feel a certain way, rather than like communicating their true thoughts and feelings. It's almost as though I'm trying to get behind everybody's mask and I can't seem to really get it, you know? I think of it more as an online problem than an offline problem. In real life, it feels like people are definitely more authentic, but online it feels like you can never really tell. Oh, really? Hello, S3, how are you? Yeah, to be edgier part of that spectrum. Totally. Like, not even just edgy or non-edgy, it's like, sometimes it's just like, almost like you could tell, maybe it was like a youthful ignorance back when I was young, but it felt like people were more laughing together than laughing at one another. And that you would see something funny online and you just like repeat it, you know, to one another. Or somebody would make something funny online and it wasn't like to get famous, it was just because they thought it was a funny thing to do. I guess maybe it's a little hypocritical for me to say that while running a Twitch channel and showing my boobies, isn't it? I'm not ignorant to that. I kind of want to use it like as a means to draw people in, of course, but then I just want to be authentic and have that mentality again. You want to see an existential crisis? Watch one True Detective. He was having a true existential crisis, really? How do you know how wide your legs are? I don't have no idea what that means, but I think that maybe you are not using your entire brain correctly, so I apologize for you. I'm INFJ, and we are known to be people pleasers, so we kind of just manipulate the conversation and make people feel comfortable, and we get an identity disorder due to this, but honestly, being authentic, even though I'm doing something, well, you're being authentic in the sense that you're trying to please other people, and that's your authentic self. People who are people pleasers tend to be people pleasers because of a lot of childhood abuse, or a lot of abuse in general. Usually it's because your anxiety is so high that the idea that somebody is going to be mad at you is a chronic scare, like a fear. So, because I suffered with people pleasing for a long time too, where it was hard for me to even make a decision because I'd be in such bad paralysis of not wanting to upset the person that I couldn't choose, so just go along with everyone. It's really hard to break the cycle, and you have to start with somebody who's really cool to you, where you feel like you can make a mistake around them. But it's very hard to find that person who you feel comfortable enough to make a mistake with. What's my Myers-Briggs? I was INFJ for a while, but I've been like INFP recently. Let's not mix being people pleaser with being nice to others because it's the right thing to do. Yeah, that's true. I can understand that perspective. You're correct on that. Being a people pleaser is pretty inauthentic, but it does come from a place of pretty chronic abuse usually. Not always, but usually it comes from a place of being in a position where as you're growing up, you feel the need to make sure everyone's okay. It comes, especially if you have like hypervigilance where you're scanning around all the time to make sure everyone is in a good mood because you don't want to be, you like, and this, what else happens with it a lot of the time is that you will attach yourself to somebody who's upset and you'll try and make them feel happier because you're like predisposed to that situation from childhood. Are you taking psychology class? You're a deep thinker. Oh, well, thank you. I'm not taking psychology class at the moment. Sounds estrogenous. That's not true at all. Also, feminizing things that are, or saying like something is girly, especially when it comes down to situations that come up from childhood trauma, isn't really appropriate in my opinion. People tend to have really hard time ever recovering from childhood trauma, ever. And a lot of people just end up killing themselves. And I'm not saying that what you said would cause anyone to kill themselves, of course. But I just mean that I don't think that it's healthy to be like, oh, you're such a sissy for thinking that. Especially for guys, because guys already get talked down a lot about having to express their emotions, and I don't think that that's really fair to them, to men in general. I think that men should be allowed to express themselves outside of anger, and I think that that's what makes, strong men. I mean, I'm not interested in like trying to feminize men. I don't want to force makeup onto a man or anything, but personally I just think that it would be healthier for society in general to be able to express themselves emotionally without being criticized for it. I missed the first part, didn't realize you were talking about trauma. Oh, okay, it's cool. Careful of TOS. Because of my trauma, I find it hard to try my hardest all the time, even though things come easy to me. But it's hard, yeah. That's pretty normal. That's really normal, actually. Especially if you come from a house where you have to succeed in order to be accepted, and if you're not succeeding, then you're not accepted, and you're called out and shamed. It can feel like you constantly need to be at the top of your game in order to function, because you feel as though everyone will hate you if you're not succeeding. And, that can be a major drive for a lot of people, but it can be an horrible setback mentally. So you may have success in things like life. You could have like a perfect girlfriend, perfect wife, perfect family, everything, but mentally up here can be just out of control. Makes me want to not to try at all. Totally, I can understand that. Aw, thank you. It takes a man to speak up, totally. it's so difficult to be able to express yourself, and I think that the default shown to men a lot of the time is that anger is okay, that violence is okay, and I'm not saying that those things are unjustifiable. Sometimes you do need to get angry to stick up for yourself, and it's not fair to expect people not to have that emotion. That's a true, real emotion. But I feel like to be criticized for expressing other emotions I think it's not really fair to men, because I don't think that men are these stupid ape robots who can't function and all they do is think about sex. Like, everyone thinks about sex all the time. We're biologically predisposed to want to have sex, but I think that men also have the capability of having incredible, beautiful thoughts and being poetic and being artistic and being, you know, history has shown that men and women are both incredibly talented and that it doesn't really matter either way. So I feel like for modern day society to criticize men for having emotions is kind of weird. I have a micropenis issue. Any suggestions? Well, there's nothing you can really do to change your body's formation. And formation is the way to think about it, because you're not deformed. You're just a normal human being with an attribute that's different. And you can always opt out for surgery if that's something that really, really bothers you. And I have no qualms with people who have something that they don't like about themselves that they use surgery to change. I can understand that completely. But I think that what can be very helpful is if you feel like your penis is not long enough, then you have to work on trying to accept the fact that your penis is small. I feel like it's such a weird way to say this, right? I'm sorry. I don't mean it I don't mean to be pedantic. I'm not trying to criticize you in any form. I think that we all feel uncomfortable about different things on our body, and nobody feels 100%. Anyone who even pretends to have confidence to the extreme where they feel like they're perfect are usually people whose minds are so caught up in their own flaws that they have to rationalize everything about their life to make them into the perfect thing because their egos are so fragile. So what if you have a small baby? It's okay. If a girl likes you, a penis is really gonna be an end-all be-all, then she wasn't really worth your time in the first place, you know? If somebody's entire love for you is purely dictated on your genitals, then they're not worth your time. Finding other ways to please a woman in the bedroom, though, would be a good idea. You know, it would be fine. If you want to get a bigger peepee, you could go get a bigger peepee. If you don't, then just find other ways to be more pleasurable. And trust me, there are a billion ways to be more pleasurable. Kink sex, like, you know, that kind of stuff is like a mental game. It has nothing even to do with penetration a lot of the time, so that's something to think about. And if it's not your fancy, you know, sensual touch is another thing. There's a bajillion different things you could love, and there's no shame in any of them. I am shameless. Micro is better than macro. I get more compliments than compliments for being big. I've heard really bad issues with a lot. Lesbians like men with small peepees? I don't know what lesbians have anything to do with it. It's a trend to show men as incompetent and women as empowered in pop culture. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. I think it's so stupid. I think it's been going on for like 15 years, and I think it's going to make a generation of guys who are feeling ostracized from the world. I think that either way of ostracizing any kind of group of people purely based on physical attributes is so stupid. If you're ostracizing, you know, men for being short, that's a dumb thing in my opinion. If you alienate people and tell them that they are bad and shamed over something that they can't change, irregardless of even historical things that have happened. You know, I won't look down on men because men historically treated women badly, because what does that have to do with the current generation of men? Nothing. What that has literally nothing to do with right now, and it doesn't fix anything right now to worry so much about the past, you you know? Many women use toys for orgasm anyway, totally, definitely. Women are way more interested in mental play than physical play, just so you guys know, or even visual play. There's a reason that women more often than men will be reading sexual books rather than watching porn, because women are more caught up into everything else in sex. So you have way less to worry about when it comes to your dick size or your looks than you even think. Your personality, though, that's what really matters, and it's very difficult. That's the hardest thing. Hello, Lumpy. Micro is a medical condition. Yes, he was talking about his micro. There are partially predetermined by it. I thought this was a purely celibate stream. Oh well. Oh no! So fuck her mentally. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. How can I accept the fact that I have a small penis? Well, I think that you shouldn't dictate your value based on your penis size, and I know that it can be very difficult to feel that way, because I think a lot of society tends to put men in a position where they are valued based off of height and penis size and strength, and women are based off, like, okay, a lot of people will think only women go through the societal pressure of beauty standards, and I think that that's completely untrue. Men have their own set of beauty standards that are incredibly difficult for them to overcome. Women, it's weight, and it's aging, and it's breast size, I would say, or booty size now. It flips back and forth, whichever one's going to make people's peepees more hard. For men, it's penis size, height, and strength. Or income, which can fall back and forth between those two. So I think what I'm trying to say is it can be very difficult for all of us to have issues with these things, and it can feel really easy to feel isolated because you're not falling into the categories that you feel you should fall into, and that's okay. It's about, learning to love yourself will really open up the idea of what your value is, rather than allowing other people to predetermine your value. So when you start to actually care about yourself and learn to love yourself, irregardless of penis size, height, whatever, and start placing your own value on yourself, you won't fall victim to other people being allowed to place a value on top of you. Kung Fu Grip on the Clit. That sounds like a fucking band name. It sounds great. I was blown away when I tried a first dating site and height was the main thing focused on. They would just show you about, that would just show you about people. Totally. People, it's like a woman thing to want to be small. Women want to feel small because women sexually tend to enjoy being dominated by men. Not all women and not all people enjoy it, but there is this wonderful cat and mouse game that is human. It's human. It's the way our gameplay is, and not for everyone, but for the most part, I think that a lot of women want to feel like they're protected, and so height for some reason seems to make them feel that way. It's not for everyone, and if people only value you based off of your ability to be perceived as bigger than them, then their value for you is always superficial anyway. If somebody is going to be superficial, then going after them is just ruining your own chances for happiness. Why would you try and follow somebody who's superficial anyway,